Well, hello once again. This is the Appleton REIA podcast, a podcast dedicated to make you not only a better real estate investor, but we mentioned this in the last one, I think just an overall better human being with just life hacks, tips, techniques that you can use personally and professionally to become just successful in life all around. So today, I got alongside me, as always, Jacci Conkle. How are you?
I'm excellent. How you doing?
Good. Good. You know, we are turning the calendar, and for many people, they're happy for that as we jump into a new year, as 2020 has been one that, as we shared last time, will be written out for many years to come. But with the turning of a calendar, 2020 aside, you know, we always have these things that we look at for New Year's resolutions, and they're just kind of empty, Jacci, right?
Yeah, you know, every time I hear New Year's resolution, I throw up in my mouth a little bit.
Well, the problem is we know they don't work, right?
Yeah, right. The least successful thing you could possibly do is set a New Year's resolution.
The intentions are good, but why do most of them fail? There's nothing behind it, right? It's just a task we do to be like, hey, I got my New Year's resolutions, and they just fall flat. So we were talking here before the podcast, and like, this is a great opportunity to share this. This parlays a little bit into that, is that sometimes we have all these things we want to accomplish in a new year, but when it comes down to it, really, it's one item that if you can make one big change in your life for the year, it can be transformational, right, Jacci?
Yeah, I mean, it's a difference between having a laser scope and a shotgun, right?
Right,
I mean, you want to focus, and if you put everything you have towards one main goal, if you will, one main thing, what do you want to do, have, be, you know, accomplish, you know, fill in the blank, right? That one thing that you're putting all of your energy to, you have a really good chance of making that happen, you know. And there's even a book called The One Thing.
There is a book called The One Thing, which I highly recommend you read because it'll help you really expands upon this to the next level. Yeah,
it kind of gives you the plan for making the one thing and how to work on it each day. But, you know, you can take that one thing. So our thing today is saying in 2021, rather than resolutions and all this list of to-dos, right, figure out what is the one main thing that at the end of this year you want to be able to look back and say, I accomplished it. It's who I became, it's what I did, it's what I got. You know, maybe there's something you want to buy, maybe there's somewhere you want to go, travel to, something you want to do. Whatever it is, it's that one thing, right? Maybe there's a specific level you want to bring your business to, and it has to be trackable, right? You can't just say, I want to have more business. Like, what is more?
Right.
Yeah.
Have some definition, right?
Yeah. And then you can break it out into all the little activities. You know, now you can brainstorm and kind of let it all out on paper. What are all the little activities that need to be accomplished in order to accomplish that one big main thing? And then you can break that out onto your annual calendar and make a plan for each one of those tiny little activities to get done just a tiny bit every day. And what did I do today to push me towards my main one thing?
That's awesome. And I think the important thing that you mentioned here, Jacci, is actually writing this down. You know, we're so quick to be like, I mean, I've had numerous conversations with people or whatever where you have these great ideas. I mean, heck, I can't remember how many business ideas I've probably thought of but never wrote it down, and it just kind of goes nowhere. So if you have this epiphany or really are focused, it starts there, but then really writing this down. There's so much power in putting it on paper or in some format that you can actually refer back to, right?
Right. And it might even be as much as making a whole list of a bunch of things that you think you want to accomplish in 2021 and then narrowing that down to the one thing.
Agreed.
And then breaking it out into all your little action points and activities that need to happen throughout the year.
So do you think this one thing, Jacci, because I'm asking you, maybe I know the answer, but I think it's good to kind of talk this through.
Yeah.
Does that be big? I mean, does it have to be a big one thing, or can it be something small?
It's just something that you don't have right now or haven't accomplished right now that you want to accomplish next year, and it's the most important thing to you. You know, it's the one main, I mean, maybe you accomplish it by July, that's okay, but you want to make sure that in 2021, at some point, by the end of the year, I can look back and say, I did that, or I got that, or I became that, or, you know, I achieved, I gained, whatever it is. It's something that you want to accomplish in 2021. And again, it doesn't have to be, you know, you don't accomplish it until December 31st next year.
Right.
Or this year.
Yeah.
It's just, it happens this year. And you're putting everything you have to making that one thing happen rather than this whole list of goals. Now, the rest of the things are fine, but you want to have a laser focus every day of what can I do to bring myself closer to that one main thing I want to accomplish.
Right.
It could be your marriage. It could be your kids. You might be single, and it could be finding the right person to money or business or tangible. It could be I'm going to read a book a day. I mean, I don't know. What is the most important thing to you is going to be different than the most important thing to me.
That's true, and it's not a competition. I think the other element that you brought into this too is something that you want to track or at least monitor, right? You got to keep a pulse on what you're doing, and it has to be something tangible that you can work towards. So you have this big overarching goal, vision, call it what you want. But then each day you have little small incremental things that you're doing to get you towards that, and then you just kind of build it backwards. Is that the idea, Jackie? You have this big thing, and then you have kind of working it down to almost the daily tasks that you can do to get to the weekly, to the monthly, to the yearly, or whatever that goal is, right?
Yeah, because those little bites are easier to manage and achieve, and you can say, okay, at the end of the day today, did I do something to bring me closer to that one thing? And we talk about this with Life and Air all the time. You know, is what I'm doing right now bringing me closer to my life's vision or further away? You know, and so at the end of each day, that's how you can kind of quantify what you did that day. And at the end of time, it can't fail. Right? You will succeed at the end. And I would say, even going back to one of our earlier podcasts, who knows how much earlier, right? One of them podcasts out there.
Check the archives. There's a few of them.
Check the archives. But going back to that, you know, posting it in front of you as though it already exists, right? So posing this in the present. So not saying, you know, I'm going to lose 50 pounds this year, but saying by December 31st, I am, you know, 100 and whatever pounds, right? Just subtract the 50.
Yeah.
You know, or you don't even have to say by a certain date. You could just say, I weigh 100 pounds. Boy, oh boy, I hope you're 12. But, you know, or whatever it is, fill in the blank. You know, I weigh this, or I am that. Like, maybe you want to be a better parent this year, you know, and you could say, I'm an amazing parent. I have a wonderful relationship with my kids, you know, or you could even better quantify it if you have more than one kid, quantify it what your relationship for each kid looks like and put it out as a vision statement. Wow. I'm an amazing parent. My relationship with girl kid looks like this. We wake up, we spend this time, we do that. This year we went here, we did that. Yeah. Like, you could lay it out in a paragraph, and if you read that every morning, just reading it every morning is a step towards that goal, because you're setting your subconscious and even your conscious, you're setting yourself on that path.
I love it.
Even if yesterday was a crappy day.
Yeah, agreed. And one of the hacks that I do, and you can use this or whatever, but I mean, on my phone, I have an Android phone. I don't know if you can do this in Apple. I would imagine you could. But I have a little tile that I created that has, it's maybe not the full drawn-out vision of what I'm wanting to accomplish, but it's a sentence of the few elements of things I want to do, whether it be, you know, controlling my intake and the health I want to have, or the relationships I want to have, or the business goals I want to achieve. So every time I go into my phone, it's the second swipe over on my second page of whatever. I see that, and it's always in front of me, and fail not. I always take some time where I'm just looking at it, you know, because I'm like, it's in front of you. So find ways that you can put it in front of you, whether it's on the dash of your car because you're driving and you need some eye things to look at in between at stop lights or whatever, or you put it on your mirror as you're getting ready in the morning, or wherever you can put this in front of you that you have to see it. Force yourself to put those things in front of you. It will, the byproduct of putting it in front of you is will allow you to achieve those goals. I know it sounds hokey, it sounds stupid. People might think you're weird because you have these Post-it notes in weird places in your house, on your fridge, in your bathroom. It doesn't matter, because this is for you and to make you a better person, a better business person. But having these goals in front of you are so integral in having them written down. I love it.
Yeah, and I mean, the subconscious mind will pick it up even if you don't realize consciously that you're reading it every time you see it. Your subconscious just keeps enforcing that. So, okay, so challenge number 1 this year is, what is the one thing you want to do or be or have or where you want to go or whatever? Fill in the blank. Your number 1 thing that you want to gain this year. And then pour all your focus to that. The rest of the stuff is great. You can have other goals. I'm not saying not to. I'm just saying really figure out what your number 1 most important thing is and focus. Focus. everything you have on that.
I love that. It's good.
Our number 2 thing for this year, Dan.
So it's one thing, but then one B is
there's a B. So we're asking 2 things of you
right.
for this year.
Yeah.
And one is, what is the main thing you want to have? We just talked about.
Right.
But then, what is the one thing you want to stop? Do you want to quit smoking? Do you want to stop staying up till 3 in the morning?
Yeah.
Do you want to stop yelling at your kids? Do you want... What do we got here? Do we want to stop drinking? I don't know. What is something you want to eliminate from your life? Or maybe it's a person you need to very carefully and slowly and methodically eliminate from your life. Maybe it's social media. Maybe it's spending less time on social media. But what this year do you want to focus on stopping or eliminating from your life? It could be what, it could be who, it could be where. Maybe you want to stop living where you live. I don't know.
Yeah.
But what is that one thing you want to go backwards from and stop and eliminate and cease and desist?
I like that. I think the other...
In a positive way.
No, so here's how you put it in a positive way. It's replacing, right?
Yep.
So if you look at it this way, I'm going to eliminate X. Let's just use food, for example. Maybe you're making bad food choices.
Stop eating sugar.
Right. I'm going to replace, sugary things in my house with healthier options, maybe fruit or things that you enjoy, versus, more maybe natural sweeteners. Maybe something has a hint of honey versus, processed, whatever the case may be. I'm just using that as an example. Right. But in order for you to remove something, you have to create a new pattern to kind of replace the old pattern, right? So if your 8 o'clock go-to treat is a bowl of ice cream, maybe you now to have healthier options at 8 o'clock, you're having a little bit of fruit or something along that line that can replace that. And it's just that one first step to remove it altogether. But then slowly maybe you're changing eating patterns where you don't eat after like 7 o'clock or whatever the case may be. So I love that, Jackie, because there's so much power in removing bad things in our life. Yeah,
well, and some people just work too much, right? And some people say, well, I'm going to quit work at 5 o'clock, or 6 o'clock or whatever it is.
Right.
But here's the thing. If you don't replace that with something else, you're just going to keep working because you're like, okay, I quit working at 5 or I started getting up at 6 a.m. instead of 8.
Yeah.
But now what am I going to do with those extra 2 hours? You have to figure out
100%.
What am I replacing that with? So, when an alcoholic stops drinking, what are they going to do with all that time they're usually at the bar?
Right.
If they don't fill it with something valuable, something they want, they're just going to end up back in the bar, right? So now you have to fill that with, a bowling league or time with friends or a dinner date or, heck, maybe you're single because that's all you ever did was drink and now you can date.
Right, yeah.
You go to a restaurant instead of a bar.
Yeah.
I don't know, but there has to be, I have so many students that say, I'd love to spend more time with my kids. Okay, great. What does that look like? You can't just say, I spend more time, and now you have time, and you're sitting there staring at your kid, and they're staring at you. You're both bored, so you grab a phone and stare at social media.
Right, yeah.
What does that look like? Where do you go? What do you do? What games do you play? What topics do you challenge each other and talk about? What maybe you read a book, and you're talking about that, or you're doing a devotional together. What does I spend time with my kids look like, and make that list.
Yeah, and
make it with the kids.
And it's tough because sometimes you don't know what that is, and you have to take some true time. A lot of these things isn't just like you wake up one morning and take 5 minutes and write this down. Take some earnest time on both of these things to really what is that one thing you want, and what's the one thing you want to replace. But then what does that look like? Really get clarity in your mind of just painting the motion picture in your mind of ideally what that would look like, and then writing that down. There is so much benefit, again, of even doing that, because once you know what that is, then you can kind of start doing the things to get that end result.
You know what's really fun? Write a letter to yourself. Like, decide what these 2 things are, what you're going to achieve and what you want to stop doing. And write yourself a letter right now, today, what those things mean to you, and what life looks like right now, not having achieved what that one thing is you want and still doing the thing you want to stop doing. Write yourself a letter, like, really be honest, because no one else is going to read it. You're going to seal it, and you're going to open it later. But today I feel like this, so I really want this change, because right now where I am, I'm unhappy not doing these things because of this. And just write yourself a letter of exactly why you're going after this and how it feels being here right now, not having achieved those 2 things. And then in 6 months, because you're at the halfway point through this year. Open that letter and read it, and you'll be like, holy cow, I was really in that place in January. I can't believe that's how I felt. I can't believe that's what life looked like. I can't believe I thought this was going to be so hard. I already achieved it. Or I let that go, and I'm really lagging on achieving this, but this is really important to me, and that'll help you refocus. Mm-hmm. So set the date for 6 months. Put it in your calendar to go to that secret hiding spot and pull that letter out and unseal it and read it in 6 months. And then write yourself another letter that day of where you are, how much you've gained or didn't gain, or where you thought you'd be by now and where you're not. Like, really put yourself into the position again of where is your desire. Now, if you've achieved everything, you can set another goal for your second 6 months. If you haven't, where am I? How far did I come? Where did I think I'd be right now? Again, getting really honest with yourself and pouring it out in a letter. Seal it up. And New Year's Eve this year, you can open that up again and celebrate your win.
I think this is really devotionals, or not devotionals, but what's the word I'm looking for?
There's a word.
Resolutions. That's the word I'm looking for. To the next level. This is an impactful one that can really be changing in your life and transform where you're at today from 12 months from now. I mean, you figure even if you get to half of that and you don't maybe fully reach it, you're probably going to be in a way better place by doing some of these things, finding out what you want and then what you want to remove. Mm-hmm. So what is the one thing that can really make a difference in 2021? Good stuff, Jackie.
Fun stuff. And I'm telling you, if you're really honest in letters to yourself, when you read them, you'll either be like, I can't believe I was there. I can barely remember how bad that felt. Or you're going to read them and be pissed off because you're still there.
Yeah.
And it should motivate you to, like, really figure it out. Like, holy cow, in 6 months I've done nothing. I'm still where I was 6 months ago. I need to pull the lead out, or I need to get real that I just don't want this.
Yeah.
I either didn't really want this, or something. What is wrong? Where I need to dig a deeper why.
Yeah.
Something's not working here. So get super honest in a letter to yourself and just pour everything that you're thinking and feeling onto paper, knowing that no one else is ever going to read it. It's for your future self.
Yeah, that's awesome stuff. Things. Yeah, absolutely. Love it, love it, love it. The one thing, guys, it can really transform your 2021 for stuff like this, whether it just be personal development stuff or real estate information and the pulse of what's going on. Check out AppletonREIA.com. You can find all the latest happenings, the online events, the vendors that we use that can save you money when you're doing projects. There's so much good stuff there. AppletonREIA.com. If you aren't already a member, all the deets are online to show how you can check out that and become one today. So, yeah, we're going to have an awesome 2021. That's right. You write your own story. It doesn't matter what's going on around. You can control the outcome of your world by really being intentional. And I think that's what you hear over and over in these podcasts and what we try to challenge you to do. So thank you so much for listening. If there's a topic or something you guys want to address, make sure you let us know. Or if you want to share what your one thing is, feel free to let us know. We'd love to hear about it. So until we talk next time, you've been listening to the Appleton REIA podcast. My name's Dan Alborn. She is Jackie Conkle. Have yourself a good one.
See ya.